Our episode starts shortly after the three members of the crew, Kai, Zev, and Stan, return to the Lexx after spending time in Transylvania in the previous episode, which saw them deal with someone pretending to be a vampire. As they're telling the creepy robot thing, 790, about their adventure, Stan gets called by some goth witches he met while down there, summoning him, and he takes off, seemingly to answer the call. Meanwhile, Kai and Zev are somewhere else in the ship, with Zev suggesting Kai go into the cryo chamber to rest to save his proto-blood, which I guess is super important. Kai agrees and off he goes, probably dreaming of the last concert of The Cure he attended. Can I just say, looking at Zev, I miss hot chick in skimpy outfit syndicated TV from the turn of the millennium. Back with the goth witch chicks, they get frustrated that Stan hasn't gotten there yet and continue to do their strippy witchcraft thing, with one of them being really ditzy with her rhyming. I guess they do the witchcraft version of boosting a cell phone signal, as I seem to be wrong about Stan and we see that he just went to bed, but their chances have woken him up. As he wanders around the ship, you can see the women kind of haunting him, including turning into the crew members, which would be fine if it weren't for the fact that the one who turned into Kai chose to kiss him and not, say, the one disguised as a hot woman. Stanley then leaves in a bug ship thing, but then loses control of himself as their powers force him to fly back to Transylvania to the women who are waiting for him. Stan, still under the girls' control, takes them back to the Lexx, but gets manhandled when he tries to get fresh with them, as they're only using him to get to Kai's proto-blood in order to resurrect their master. Sucks for him, as all that was for nothing as one of the girls knocks him out, while the ditzy one gets her lips stuck on Kai's proto-chamber, but they eventually escape with 790 getting Zev and letting her know what happened, who then wigs Kai. Unfortunately, by the time they get to the witches, they're taking off in the bug ship thing. Kai then puts a tube in Stan's mouth and tells 790 to figure out how they were controlling him, and they find out that the girl's saliva had some hypnotic stuff in it called parablood. Kai decides to go back to Transylvania to retrieve his proto-blood, but Zev wants to follow. Kai gives her a story about someone named Vlad, who is a divine assassin who she is no match for, but Zev doesn't listen and takes off anyway. We then see the witches head to a cryo chamber where an old withered woman is there. She drinks the proto-blood, which seems to painfully de-age her. The witches ask to be turned, but she says no and seemingly kills them instead, though we don't see it on screen. Back with Kai and Zev, they make it back to Transylvania, where Kai goes looking for Vlad. Vlad plays mind games with Kai while telling him her plan to turn a bunch of people and then use her army to dominate humans. Meanwhile, Zev heads to some pub to try to tell everyone to leave, but they just ignore her, thinking she's crazy. We find out the guy she's talking to is Joseph Van Helsing, but he isn't a big believer in his family lineage. Back on the Lexx, Stan tells the ship that if anything comes from Earth, that it should blow the planet up. On Earth, Joseph takes Zev to the room of a guy named Father Borsch, who is apparently a vampire hunter. Joseph, not being an idiot, does try to hit on Zev, even though he thinks she's nuts, and is surprised to find out she's illiterate. The two have story time where she finds out someone with a pure heart cannot be affected by Vlad, who is licking Kai in the next scene before having a game of hide and seek, followed by Vlad being immune to everything Kai does to her. She then uses a leash thing to suck his proto-blood, only being rescued by the two being struck by lightning. Zev drops herself off at Vlad's castle while giving Joseph the moth thing to keep, which I guess is a consolation prize for not getting laid. She then finds a laid out Kai. Meanwhile, Vlad catches up to Joseph and throws him out the flying bug. Zev calls Stan and tells him they need to destroy Earth when they get back. Problem is, he takes back his orders to destroy any moth that flies toward the ship, which allows Vlad to arrive and bite him. She then kicks the creepy robot thing, which makes me like her, because that thing is weird and annoying. Stan, being hypnotized but still a horny old man, asks Vlad to bite him again, but she turns him down. Zev then arrives with Kai, but is confronted by Vlad. Zev punches Vlad and runs, but Vlad cuts her off no matter where Zev goes. Meanwhile, Kai tries to talk a hypnotized Stan into taking him to the cryo chamber by claiming that's what Vlad wants, which eventually works. Back with Vlad and Zev, Vlad catches Zev and bites her, putting Zev under her control. Vlad then shows up to Kai to brag about having all his friends under her control and wanting Kai to pronounce his love for her. She uses her tentacle thing to try to drain him, but then Zev, showing she was just pretending to be under her control, forces Vlad into the cryo chamber as we find out she's of pure heart. Zev then knocks Stan out to prevent him from letting her out, and Kai tells her they need to purge Vlad's blood from Stan to get him back to normal. The episode ends with Zev giving Stan a transfusion where he eventually comes back to normal, much to the dismay of 790, who would rather have had him killed. Thanks for watching. If you like these recaps, please leave a like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to know every time I update.
There is now an option to be a channel member where you'll get access to exclusive recaps from late night vampire catalogs like Showtime, Cinemax After Dark, USA Up All Night, and much more. If you want to help my channel grow, please check out my Patreon, where members can get exclusive content that can't be uploaded on YouTube, along with download options. Link is in the description.